with us.
Yeah, we're going to have your code and your ticker on this network, and you can't stop it from being traded.
Right.
And so there's a derivative, and then if there's liquidity bonding the prices together, so if, let's say you have Chainlink on Ethereum, and then after launch, price bounces around a while, but I bet that over time that these prices will move similarly.
Right.
I think that the Link ticker on Pulsechain is likely to move similarly to the Link ticker on Ethereum.
Right. Just because of the bridge, right? And
well, because they're bonded by the liquidity.
Right.
And then it's the same code with the same ticker. Now, do you want to pay $100 or $300 to trade it on Ethereum, or do you want to pay a penny to trade it over here? And we already know this answer because they're doing it on other networks as well.
Yeah.
People do trading on alternate networks, and then we're the one that you don't like. Your coins are already here. You don't even have to bridge over.
Right.
You've already got your free coins here. You can already access them by changing one setting in your MetaMask. It's awesome.
Dude, it sounds
well.
It sounds pretty awesome.
Well, that's the trick. That's the magic. Is you launch this whole network with all these new coins. How do you get those new coins to be valuable?
Right.
But by not letting anyone ever stop the trading, by having the same tickers, and by giving people a reason to back the value of the things they got free,
right?
By rewarding them with a yield farming token. It's like a giant vampire attack, basically. It's a giant vampire attack.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Great Vampire Attack. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Man, it is, we said volatility, but it is an absolute bloodbath based on following off, of course, from the employment data last week and, of course, the Middle East wars. So lots of drama there at the moment. And, of course, we can see the UK also up in arms with civil unrest because the elites don't listen, right? The elites, and they're still not listening. Is doubling down, which is unfortunate. Hope you guys are having a good weekend though. So Saturday, Sunday, I hope that was good. What day is it now? It's now Monday here down under, and I know it's still Sunday in the Northern Hemisphere. It's currently 7 minutes past 12, so midday. And the weather outside, I think it's overcast, so it's kind of where it is at the moment. Good old New Zealand. Let's have a look and see. Now, I want to do a big shout out first of all to Noah Lyles, winning the 100 meters in an incredible race. The 100-meter finals for the Olympics, which was earlier today. All the men were so fast. I mean, it was such a tight race. It was incredible to watch. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The 100 meters Olympics men's was just incredible. And the men, very tight. Noah Lyles managing to snap it out, something like 5 thousandths of a second ahead of Kashane Thompson, the Jamaican. And so the US has taken back the Olympic gold for the 100 meters, and I do say he's looking good for 200 meters. In fact, he's probably going to get most of his competition from one of his own team members. So it's going to be fun to see how that play out. So very, very excited and well done. Noah is quite the showman, and I really like that. I really like this sort of stuff. So big shout out to Noah Lyles. All right, we got people in the house. We got Wookie. Hey, good to see Wookie. Wookie is almost fast as bro. Hey, Wookie, hope you're doing well there. Now, I do have a poll in the house. We've got a poll. How long will this shakeout last? How long will this shakeout last? 1 to 2 weeks. The next 6 weeks, which is kind of what I've been talking about, having volatility. The next 3 months or the next 6 months. They think it's going to really, this employment war thing's really going to dampen down our big Bitcoin rally, our big bull market that we're going to have typically after Bitcoin halving. So let's see where we go. But I'm still bullish about October. That's kind of my position. But get in there and vote, and let's see what you're going to say about that. Let's see. We've got Craig Pitt in the house here. Morning all. Good to see you, Craig. Hope you're doing well. We've got Sandy Rich as well. Hello, Hex Token and family and everybody. Hey, Sandy, keep up the great work with the health and fitness. And so what's the Sandy saying? I would be so nervous too, says Sandy. I'm not sure what that's regarding. But good to see everybody in the house there. All right, get into the chat. Make it lively, folks. That's what we like. This is crypto after all. And we're going to get into all the market results as they are happening. And we are right at the bottom of this move at the moment. Let's see where we go. Let's pull it up. It's red, unfortunately. Try to bring you guys green charts. But look at that. Bitcoin down 4.7% at the moment. 58,122. It's more significant than that. We're sitting at 54.5% on the dominance, so 54.5%. So that's strengthened up as we've seen over the last couple of weeks or whatever. We've got Ethereum there at 2,685, down a whopping 7% there, 8% at the moment. So really down big time there. We were only up about a week ago, up at 3,360. So we've really come down quite a bit there on Ethereum. And that's where we are there on the 2 leaders. Looking at BNB is down 6.4% at the moment at $497, so just below that $500 mark. What else is interesting here? I might have to reset this because you spazzed it up. I spazzed it up. We got XRP down 6.25%, 52 cents. ADA down 5.7%. Matic is down 7.4% at 42 cents. Some of the leaders there. What else? Now, Litecoin is actually not too bad at the moment, down 3.7% at $62. Tron, who believe it? Tron is actually green. Probably not too bad. It really doesn't seem to move around that much, does it, Tron? That is at 12.6 cents there and up 0.6%. So the only one showing some green here amongst the leaders. That is where we are. Now let's jump over to Bitcoin and zoom in on that. That is the chart on the daily. Look at that thing, bloodbath, right? Bloodbath, shakeout, whatever you want to call it. That is crazy. Look at that. Within 6 days, we went down 18.4%. I mean, there we go. That's the volatility of crypto. You make mad gains, but you also can lose mad gains. And at the moment, that's where we are. And we see the chart there. It's still pushing down. And here's the thing. We are below the 200-day moving average. So there we go. We're below the 200-day moving average. 200-day moving average is at 59,523. And we have crashed through that over the weekend. And no surprises there. What will happen on Monday when the US opens up the stock market and all that sort of stuff? What's going to happen there? Because we know the US stock market's probably going to do a bit of bleeding Monday, Tuesday, possibly before we get a bounce. So either we'll get a bounce on Tuesday or Wednesday, is my guess. But we may just bleed out on the Monday. We'll see what will follow up there on the stock market. Will the crypto market continue to follow? We shall see, or has it had its day and it just cools off a little bit. But at the moment, we've got 57,693 at the moment. We did get down to 57,123, and we got a brand new candle here now, right? So a brand new candle in UTC time. But we are below the 200 moving average by a lot, actually. $1,900, isn't it? $1,900, I think that is, if I'm doing my math right. That's some pretty crazy stuff. Let's see, we've got a ruler. There's a ruler there. They're going to show us. Yeah, $1,900. There we go. Down 3.2% below the 200-day moving average. So there we go. Now we have been below the 200-day moving average back here in July. So we already have been down there. It wasn't as violent though. Look how violent that was. Well, it took longer here. Look, and then we finally had a violent capitulation here. But it actually was going down for some time. But yeah, look at that. Pretty sharp. So will we have a violent price pushback like this? Are we going to get that coming up in the next week? Let me know your thoughts in the chat there. Get in there, folks, and let me know your views. I'll read them out a bit later. So that is where we're heading. Now, what we're going to say is that we've still got positive news coming in the future. None of the news has changed really. So at the moment, we've got the employment news that we had last week. We've got, the wars, the Middle East kind of thing, Iran, Israel, also revenge attacks, all that sort of stuff. And here we are sitting at the moment with the pivot on the 18th September. The 18th September here. So that's ticking away for the interest rate pivots. And this is the good news. So the good news is that we're probably going to, instead of getting 25 basis points, which is where we were last week, looks like we might get up 1 percentage point or more before the end of the year, September and November. So that is the bullish news. And probably 50 basis points each, 1 percentage point overall. And of course, that's kind of good news there at the moment coming up there. So that is the interest rate pivots here in September and November. And the November one's just after the US election on the 5th of November. That's on the 7th. So that's 1 percentage point. That would take us from 5.5% on the federal funds rate down to 4.5%. That's kind of the ballpark now with that latest employment data. So there we go. And of course, people talking about a hard landing versus a soft landing. I don't know if we're going to have a hard landing, but certainly some volatility in there for sure. You got to remember that the Biden administration has been doing terrible economic policies, and of course we've had high interest rates as well. Adding those things together, then that's you're gonna fuel this trade-off trade-off of employment for lower inflation, right? So that's kind of the play there at the moment. So US election will be pretty cool. So we've got the interest rates. It's going to be positive. We've also got if Trump wins, then that's positive, right? So that's he's pro crypto, particularly around regulations. Let's think less about the strategic reserve, but more particularly about the firing Gary Gensler and changing the regulation approach to the market and giving more simple, clear regulations as opposed to lawfare against crypto. So that's kind of where we are. So nothing's really changed there. We know that September is normally the worst month, pretty much of the year, and we know that October is pretty much the best month as well. So that's kind of positive. We also know that after the Bitcoin halving, normally 2 or 3 months of volatility, and it's game on, right? So game on after that. So we've got, I think, a lot of positive catalysts, and I'm not overly worried about the Iranian tensions, the revenge and stuff. I just think there's a lot of checks and balances on how bad that can get, because if they go bad, then things go bad, and it's like they got to calculate that and go, is it really worth it? Is it really worth going that far? So I'm still not quite too worried about that at the stage. It'll be a bit of a tit for tat, but we shall see. Let's jump over to Ethereum. And have a look at Ethereum at the moment. Ethereum, of course, even pretty dramatic. Look at that, way below the 200-day moving average. Remember that for Bitcoin, we got to the all-time high and busted it, but for Ethereum, it has not got back to that 4,900 yet. So the last bull market hasn't even hit that, unlike Bitcoin. So we got Ethereum at the moment is sitting at the 200-day moving average. Let me see, what's that sitting at? That is sitting at 3,120. And we're way down at 2,681. So pretty dramatic for Ethereum. We saw that yesterday, which just finished, this candle just finished. We got all the way down to 2,626. So really nice, cheap Ethereum on at the moment. If you want to pick some Ethereum up, definitely looking good for that. When will it bottom down? Who knows? Let's have a look on the chart. Looks like we're down into some resistance on the horizontal. So there we are back in January. We had some resistance. This could become support right where we are at the moment. And I just see that candle's just gone green a little bit. Let's see how it goes. Still early days. That's kind of where we are at the moment on the daily. Let's have a quick, I think that's it. Yeah, is that it? Yeah, Ethereum ETFs. So obviously they're going to continue to raise up there. Now, interesting, last week, of course, the Bitcoin, Morgan Stanley was talking about opening it up to all their advisors. I think they had 15,000 advisors American-wide. So you're talking about tons of clients, rich baby boomer clients and all that stuff. But they're going to get a better price now, right? So is there a lot of manipulation going on, where they overshoot the market down on the news, and of course their clients get some nice cheap Bitcoin and Ethereum to pick up? Well, they do things like that, I'm sure. So let's see whether that plays out as well, whether it's a little bit of that market manipulation there. So it's great having these big institutions from the stock market on crypto, but they play the same old games, right? They play the same old games. So remember that. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment on Ethereum, and we'll probably have a look at the ETFs maybe tomorrow. Have a look at how Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF are going in the future. So that's pretty much it on that. Now I wanted to look at so this big smash in price. What has it done to the liquidations? Man, oh man, oh man, it's crazy. So in the past 24 hours, we're here on CoinGlass.com. The last 24 hours, 109,000 traders were liquidated. 109,000. Were you one of them? Ask yourself. Hopefully not. The total liquidation comes at $354 million. So liquidations across the board, across assets, Ethereum, Bitcoin 120 million, Ethereum 96, etc. It's been pretty much a bloodbath for the longs, and the shorts have been winning the day, obviously, pushing the price down. And those are probably where the big institutions are playing, and all those big players. So that is pretty crazy. The largest single liquidation order happened on Huobi exchange, where BTC USD, a value of $27 million liquidation. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Got to be painful, even for those big traders. That's some big position liquidated. Bam, 27 million. Boom, gone like that. So there we go. That is pretty much it with the markets. Now, moving into the meme coins, so all the leverage stuff that's on top of Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. We know that DOG at the moon has actually, Bitcoin's still going down, but DOG has stopped for the time being. It has decided not to go down anymore. So is this the bottom, at least for the moment, for DOG go to the moon? It is sitting at $253 million market cap, 4.38 sats here on Magic Eden. So is this a good pickup zone for DOG? It seems to have been pretty solid around this level at the moment, even with Bitcoin going down further. The market seems not want to move at this stage on that. So it's pretty interesting here on the old Runes protocol on Bitcoin. And you can see, there's slight decreases in some of the leaders in the top 10, but not a lot of movement down, relatively speaking. Now, remember, there's always leverage plays. When Bitcoin goes up, they're going to go up even more, generally speaking. And when the Bitcoin goes down, they're going to go down even more. So it looks like we've had a bit of a pause at the moment on Dog Go to the Moon. So let's have a look at the 24-hour. You can see the chart here. It's been pretty consistent. Yeah, it had a little pop down 5 o'clock this morning, 6 o'clock this morning, Kiwi time. But yeah, the 3.8 cents. It's Kiwi, maybe Kiwi time. Yeah, it's Kiwi time. And UTC time as well, I guess. So we've got down 3.8 sats and back up at 4.3. So it had a little bit of a dip, but has managed to keep going, even though Bitcoin's still going down. So that's pretty awesome there from Dog. Now moving to the broader meme ecosystem, we can see that memes are down. I mean, they've been just going down with the last week with Bitcoin, Ethereum stuff. And look at Dodge. Dodge is down at 15 billion. Now, when I was covering Dodge some time back, when we started pulling up the memes all the time, it was at $24 billion. Now we're down at 15 billion. That's a lot of billions being wiped off the map there. So yeah, what's that, a third of the value or something? It's pretty crazy. So we've got Dodge is down 21% for the week, 4.6% for the 24 hours. It's finally starting to really move down there. The SHIB down 21%, etc. You can see all the big moves. Pepe's down 31% for the week, 5%. Dog with Hat, which has been the weaker one, actually has been down 41%, 9.5% at the moment. So you've got some big movements down across the board on the top memes, and you can see your good old Dog sitting here, down 38%, 6.6% for the last 24 hours, and the market cap there just sitting, around that $250 million mark. Well, that is where the old Dog is at the moment. So those are the meme coins. We can see that the total market cap has fallen 4.1% on crypto. We're down at $2 trillion and $70 billion on the market cap of crypto overall. So there we are. That is what we've got going. 77 billion in volume, up 5.5% on the downside, unfortunately. So that's kind of where the crypto market is at the moment. And we're going to talk about Pulsechain. But before we do that, let's catch up in the chat there. Obviously, the title of the video is that Bitcoin breaks the 200-day moving average, which it has. But Pulsechain has kind of been holding up there. So we're going to talk about that too. So let's see who else has jumped in here. Sandy says, talking with Richard Hart, lol. What do you mean? Give us some context around that, Sandy. It'd be appreciated. And we've got Andrew Reynolds as well. I think we're going to go sideways till the elections, but I think this drop will recover in a couple of weeks. Is Andrew? Nice comment there. Big shout out from Andrew as well. We've got Brian, our community leader in the house there. Sup, Brian? I hope you're doing well there. Sup, folks? There's Brian. And big shout out to Brian, of course. What else? Yeah, but if you're in the syndicate or mafia, big shout out to everybody in the syndicate. We appreciate all your efforts as well. Now let's get into it. Do you know what day it is for Pulsechain results? Do you know what day it is? It is pretty awesome. But before we read out what day it is I'll be nervous too, talking with Richard Hart. Who's talking with Richard Hart? Let us know, Sandy. Who are you talking about? Who's actually someone having an interview with Richard Hart? Because he hasn't been doing anything like that. Let us know. I don't know if he's pushed that on his profile. So let's get into that. You know what day it is for Pulsechain? 450. Day 450 on Pulsechain. Let's get into it. 450 days since Pulsechain launched. And you saw that video I played at the beginning with Hexologist and Richard Hart. That was pretty cool. Now, I think, is that what you're referring to, the interview at the beginning of the show? Is that what you're talking about there, Sandy? I think you might have been. Hexo was on that video. Yes, indeed. All right, now I have the context of what you're talking about there. All right, so we got day 450. We got Pulsechain there is at quadruple 0398, so just below that 4,000 mark, at 40% of the sacrifice price, down 2%. So it's actually, these other ones are down, a massive 8% on the Ethereum, but we're only down 2% on Pulse. So Pulsechain is holding up, relatively speaking. We got Pulsex at the moment is at quadruple 0218, and this is actually down less than Pulse, which is what we didn't see yesterday. Down 1.1%, so pretty stable at 2,180, and that is sitting at 22% of the mean sacrifice price. The buy and burn at the moment is 937.5 billion, sitting at 4.64% at the buy and burn of public supply, 4.64%. So it's pretty good, just ticking away every day. We're day 450. It's just ticking away there. We've got incentive token at the moment, $2.21. It is only down just below 0.25%. The ratio holding up pretty well, 55,755. So the ratio has actually gone up. Pulse has gone down, but the ratio has gone up to offset that to give us a very small retrace on the incentive token. The supply at the moment, 38.4 billion. No, it's not. It's a million. 38.4 million is the incentive supply. That's what happens when you talk about billions for a while and then you go to talk about millions. So we've got 38.4 million incentive tokens in supply. And that's from the Pulsechain V1 farms. Hex is the biggest fall today, the Richard Hart stuff, but only by a little bit. Down 3%, sitting at just under 4900th of a penny, so just below half a penny. And EHEX there at 1100th of a penny. That's up a little bit. And of course, the combined price EHEX and PX just below 16ths of a penny at the moment is combined price there. So that's day 450. That's 450 days of Pulsechain. It's crazy. That's crazy stuff there. Now, what have we seen over the last 24 hours on Pulse Alerts? Well, here we go. Let's have a quick look at what Pulse Alerts has said. Now, if you're not following Pulse Alerts, you want to see what the big capital inflows and outflows and sales are on Pulsechain, definitely worth following. It's called Whale Pulse on X social platform. So Whale Pulse is the name of the site there. And yeah, this is pretty useful. Actually, I'll post it in the chat there in case you guys want to check it out and add to your favorites for sure. Don't forget to get in the chat, make it lively. That's how we like to rock and roll here. We are sharing the journey on Pulsechain together. So definitely get onto it and tell your friends, share the channel around because we're virtually on every single day of the week, year after year. And yes, it's year after year. That's pretty crazy, but it's true. All right, so yeah, the last 24 hours we had 13 hours ago we had 9.5 billion Pulse bought for 221,000 DAIs. That was pretty cool. Then we had 8 hours ago we had 9.5 billion Pulse sold for $204,000 DAI. That was the trade that we had there. So it looks like a bit of a trader going on there. Then we had some updates around Pulse and stuff. We'll move past that. But this is what's the interesting thing. 6 hours ago, we had 220,000 USDC bridge to Pulsechain. Interesting move there. We see the Pulsechain's holding up pretty well. And then we also had 200,000 DAI bridged into Pulsechain as well. So we've got some DAI in USDC, 440K of DAI in USDC moving into Pulsechain. Pretty interesting. We're going to check the bridge results following that, but that is very, very bullish. Let's jump into the charts at the moment. So this is the 4-hourly charts. You can see that we had a bit of a rally. We actually rallied up to 4,200, just broke the 4,100, got down to 3,876. We're back just below the 4,000 mark at the moment. RSI pretty oversold on the 4-hourly. That's kind of good news because it might just float along there, but a good chance that it will actually recover at some stage. Let's have a look at the daily. The RSI is almost oversold, but not quite yet. So there could be a little bit more pain, but so far so good. We're sitting at 32.61 on the RSI. Remember, we had our big rally. It was looking pretty damn good, wasn't it? But of course, you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum market conditions pretty negative, and we ended up riding almost all the way back down. So that's unfortunate. We were fingers crossed that we were finally going to get that new high there off the bottom and finally find the bottom, but no. We've come down most of the way. So there we go. That is on the daily. Looking at the weekly, it could be almost over though on the RSI. Let's see how we go. But on the weekly, that is where we are. And the weekly RSI is all the way down at 35. So just humming around here, not doing too much. And here we are back again down near the bottom levels again. So more pretty much if you've got some spare cash, a good DCA level and a big accumulation there, getting lots of big volumes at the moment on the old Pulsechain. Now, that being said, of course, let's go back to the daily and go full screen on the Pulsechain. And let's have a look here. Actually, should we go to the weekly? Maybe that's a little bit easier to see. Let's go to the weekly. Probably a little bit easier to see there. And we'll get rid of the RSI. And there we go. So let's auto-log that. So this is where we are on the weekly. We have got Richard Hart's meeting coming up on the 22nd of August. Not meeting, but his response to the SEC motion to dismiss. Very, very important for Pulsechain. And that's what his lawyers will be responding and coming up. So that's ticking away there. And then we have the big court case, the oral arguments. I think it's the 21st or 22nd of October there. I think it's 22nd. Oral arguments actually at the court case in October. We know that there's going to be a lot of Pulsechins and Hexkins at that court case. And that's going to be positive, right? Now, the other positive thing is if Richard did call out for amicus briefs, right? So that's where third parties can, provide any added information I think will be useful to the court. So hopefully we've had some people do that. That'd be pretty neat. And then, of course, we've got all the positives around the interest rates in US election. That's kind of where we are at the moment. So generally pretty positive. Question mark over the court case, though, in October. Obviously super bullish if we end up winning that and getting the case dismissed. Will depend on the fairness of the judge and all the rest of it. So we'll see how we go there. Pulsechain at the moment is sitting at on the 4 hourly, pretty chill down here at 37, and still looking better than Pulse in many ways, sitting at 2,170 on the charts. And let's go to the daily. Daily down at 40, and yeah, we're still looking pretty good on the charts here, aren't we? I mean, let's look at the daily here, and zoom in on that. There's the daily chart. Look at that. That's pretty good. We're staying well above that yellow support line, and we're still got higher lows, right? Clearly the higher lows. So the Pulsechain chart's not doing too badly over. I mean, it's taking a long while before people get the big X's, but it's still actually doing pretty well with the support lines here. RSI down at 38, so there's a bit more patience required, really, isn't it? That's kind of the play, and that's the weekly chart there. So yeah, still looking pretty good. Now we haven't had a close, haven't had a bullish close yet on the moving averages, and we've just seen that we've just had a negative close here. It hasn't quite crossed yet. It may bounce off, but at the moment we'll see. It may end up bouncing off here. This is the pink line. This is a 13-day moving average over the 34. So hopefully it will separate out from there. The RSI still at 40, so it still could move down. But so far, so good. I guess the bear scenario is down at 1,800 again. That's kind of rising as we move forward based on the angular support. And we're kind of in this previous resistance zone, trying to hold support there. So Pulsechain is still looking pretty good. Pulsechain, kind of cool. Incentive token, let's go to the ratio. This has been performing like a boss. I think we can all agree. Still up and near the top of the range. Look at that, even with some red weeks. That's some pretty crazy stuff there. Looking at the daily, I mean, that's the daily at the moment, bit of volatility, but the incentive token there looking pretty strong there. Like I say, yesterday actually had a green candle, 55,743, offsetting the fall in pulse price, but moving up in the incentive. So incentive token looking like a boss. Let's go to PHEX. Hex, of course, the poor performer really, relative to the others. So the 4 hourly just skimming along the bottom here on the RSI. Everything's sort of heading down there, but let's have a look at the daily. Daily there is also, we pretty much sold off most of that move that we had, most of the big rally. This is what gets people down, right? People get down is that we have these rallies, and we keep having them rally and we get sold down. We have a little rally, get sold down, little rally, get sold down. That's what taxes people get, pretty exhausted. And this time we had a big rally. Was this going to be the beginning of something? If we came back to a pretty decent high, like a 38 or 50 on the Fibonacci, but we didn't. We've come pretty far back down here. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. We're going to have more time. We did know that next 6 weeks were going to be volatile. Been saying that for some days, but of course, with the employment data coming surprising to the downside, and with the Middle East heating up, as well as the UK, I would argue, civil unrest there, and a terrible leader, right? Keir Starmer's just an idiot. He's just going to put more fuel on the fire and put it in a police state. We all knew that's what they were going to do. It's a Labour government after all, and they love to put people in police states. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We're sitting just below, what's it here on Hex? Just below half a penny at the moment. We came all the way down to 78.6. So it'd be pretty important to bounce from here. I think we can all agree. RSI is not fully oversold, so it could go down a little bit more, but so far, a good bounce here at the 78.6 would be pretty good. So maybe this is almost done. Just depends on whether Pulsechain decides to follow the rest of the market. And at the moment, it's kind of holding up. And we see some fresh capital coming over the bridge. So let's see if it stays. EHEX at the moment had an old bounce yesterday too. So it's kind of good news. Little bounce there, green candle. And we're currently just below 1,100th of a penny there. So a nice little bounce. We've eaten, it's gone down a little bit there. It actually bounced almost to, just over 1,100th of a penny. So it's pretty small ranges, but still, it's nice to see that. That is on the 4 hourly. On the daily, still pretty red, still pretty negative, and the RSI is almost oversold on EHEX at 31 there. So it's maybe not much room left to go. Maybe find a lot of resistance at 1/10 of a penny, which is still pretty low by historical comparisons. But maybe that is it for a Hex there. Massive volumes you can pick up at that price, of course. That's kind of where we go. Let's quickly look at let's look at the rest of the Hex derivatives. We got Trio is up big time, 23%. Very little liquidity in there though, so easy to move the market like that. Lucky is up there, 6.6%. Liquidity is 7 times better. We got Hedron on Ethereum there up 3.5%, and Decky there, the 10-year one, 1.6%. So remember, the Trio is 3 years. The Lucky is the 7-year one for the Hex mining pools, and that of course created by Dipcatcher and Goldkey over at Maximus. So they're the ones standing out at the moment. Alex McFerder's ones, the Hedron Nokosa, they're the bigger falls today. They're down 2 and 5% respectively. Moving to stable coins, we did see some move on PDI yesterday. Looks like it's cooled off a bit here, down 7.5% on PDI. We're sitting at 1/1500th of a penny. What else is looking pretty? LUSD, which has got the 5% burn, but much slower than they were talking up earlier. They're targeting 90-95% burn, but it's going much slower than they anticipated. They talked about doing that within 5 months or whatever. 10 billion, was it 10 trillion? One of the two, 10 trillion I think it was. And so it's just taking longer, but we'll keep watching that one. It's always fun to have some speculative stable coins comments to watch, whether they happen or not. But so far, not at this stage. And you certainly would probably be at this level. You probably want to be spiraling back into, a lot of Richard Hart tokens plus maybe some high value opportunities as well. So Richard Hart plus a few cool ones. Some of them may be in the influencers here. Now, just a little tidbit. There's a tool tidbit from the day. So if you want to take this as you were, but the only performer today on the influencer coins is Paul Pleb from Hexy Bastard. That's up 7% at the moment. But SolidX is actually the worst performer, down 11.3% now. But SolidX is one that you want to look out for. Okay, so this is a bit of hot intel for you. Even the price is probably your friend right now. It looks terrible in the charts, relatively speaking. But you can see the chart of SolidX. Now, remember, this is Randy's big business millionaire friend. Apparently, he's a very good guy and all that. So take that. I don't know him personally, but that's what people say. Anyway, that is at $14.80 at the moment. But we know that the Dragon X team, which builds on Titan X, is also building a big game out for SolidX here. And we know that Mafia is the #1 GameFi protocol on Pulsechain. But this game that's going to be built on SolidX could be a very big game. And they have a decent reach in terms of marketing. They know that marketing is important as well. So keep a lookout for that. SolidX could be a nice little part of your speculative play that you want to pick up with that game coming up there. So, yeah, that's a little tidbit that came out earlier. Was it yesterday? So there's a little bit of hot intel there. Once again, you can follow up on that if you want to get more details. Hit me up in Discord. So that's kind of it. And yeah, and if you're in Strategy Club, that's cool. One of the cool things to talk about, there's lots of insights there. In Strategy Club, you can join the link to Strategy Club in the video description, $35 a month. But we talk about multi-chain opportunities at the moment, and this is one of those little tidbits for today. All right, so let's move out of there. So that's kind of the play. Let's go over to overall for the markets for day 450 on Pulsechain. Can you believe it? 450 days, mind-boggling. Let's go to Pulsechain and maybe the chance to pick up some big opportunities given the big pullback in the market. So we've got 13.7 million in volume today. So that's okay. I mean, it's we want to get back over 25 million during the weekday, but that's okay. We're coming off the weekend on Sunday, the kind of Sunday volumes, and that's pretty good for a Sunday volume. Unfortunately, it's generally negative for the general market, but Pulsechain holding up at this stage. We're at 129,000 transactions on the 24-hour. Let's have a look at the best performance. We got Rat there. Man, that Rat one seems to often pop up. That's up 6%. PDC, the Grays. Now, one of the better ecosystems in Pulsechain has definitely been the Grays currency. They've got a lot of these arbitrage plays and all things like that, and tax tokens, and they definitely seem to be a standout. Month after month, they seem to be performing pretty well. So that's PDC, the Grays. Alien, of course, is related to the Grays, so that's ticking away there as well, up 2.9%. Yeah, so they're doing pretty well as the Grays there. We've got BFF up a little bit there, and Peach as well. So some of the other ones there. We even got Mafia managing to hang out here, up 0.8%, sitting at 1/1200th of a penny. So it's holding up as the good old Mafia there on Pulse Mafia. Now, I'm going to be doing a full-on stream this Saturday, my time, or Friday, North American time, with on the syndicate with the Mafia. We're going to have Archie the Don is going to be joining us. Maybe have some other special guests from the syndicate. So that is coming up. So if you're in the syndicate family on the Mafia, we'll be doing a dedicated live stream for that. So dedicated, actually, it's a 50-50 live stream, but we'll be focused on the syndicate and Mafia there as we wait patiently for the game to, be built out, as it were. So that's kind of the play there at the moment. All right, so that's pretty much it for Pulsechain. Let's go into the final details here. We're going to look at the gas prices. So we've got gas prices at the moment at 366,000 beats. So, a bit easier than what we had. We've been up at like 400,000 plus, which is kind of on the higher side. So this has cooled off a little bit there. You can see in the chart that they've kind of been elevated recently compared to, say, this area here. Half a penny for a Pulsex swap. 300 of a penny for Pulsecoin transfer, and 900 of a penny for PRC20 transfer. What's Ethereum at the moment? Ethereum is 6 Gwei on Ethereum. We're still almost 1,100 times cheaper than Ethereum at the moment. So there we go. And finally, let's go to validators. We're at 384 validators at the moment on Pulsechain. Now, with the Pulsechain price down so low, great opportunity to pick up 32 million Pulse and become a validator. Definitely check out validatorstore.com if you want to get some equipment. Preloaded there from David Feder, doing a great job there. 1.55 trillion has been staked with the validators off the market, can't be sold. So that's kind of good news there. Just down slightly from 1.56 trillion. Sorry. Looking at the bridge, we're down quite a bit, aren't we? We're down quite a bit, sitting down at $92.2 million. Now, obviously, ETH has dragged us down, so the ETH price has dragged us down. DAI is actually up slightly from memory from yesterday. So that's that DAI we saw come over the bridge. We saw some USDC come over the bridge, I think it was, or USD Tether, and I think it was USDC come over the bridge. So that's probably up a little bit there. So ETH is down, Bitcoin is down, of course, and I think Coast is still below peak. I didn't check that on the market. I think it's below peak. So those there, and EHEX is down 1,100 a penny. So those are probably the ones that dragged us down. Positives have probably been DAI and USDC there, holding us up, relatively speaking. But we're still net down 92.2 million. What were we at yesterday? Was it 94? Something like that, 94 million. So there we go. That explains it all. Now let's actually go to the activity since it's day 450. We're going to have a look at the transactions so far. So the transactions over the 450 days on Pulsechain, 165 million transactions so far. But you can see it's been tapering off. Lower prices. We need those green candles. You know how markets work, green candles. So, it's just that accumulation zone. Good chance. This is probably another sign that this is maybe the low for Pulsechain. Obviously, we're going into that positive news this month with Richard Hart responding to the SEC. But then, of course, we've got the court case in October. So that's probably hanging over a little bit over the chain as well. That being said, we're holding pretty steady today, which is kind of good news. Active wallets, 1,067,000 unique addresses over the period since Pulsechain launched there. So pretty cool. 173.5 million smart contracts, up 124 today. 33,707 verified smart contracts, up 20 today. And social media posts, oh boy, is that true? Have they fallen off the roof? So really, all the influencers need to do a much better job. All the community people, it's not just influencers. The community plays a huge role in promoting Pulsechain. So get out there and do that. That being said, I have seen some of the old school influencers starting to do a bit more. I think Hexo's been out there and stuff, people like that. So it's kind of cool, doing some stuff. So big shout out to them. And of course, just keep up the great work out there. Social interactions based on, I don't know what the source data of this is, so just take that into mind. But that's indicating that's down as well. But I don't know what the sources are for these posts. Presumably it's X post or something like X social platform. So that's pretty much it for day 450. And we've just started day 451. Can you believe it? Some crazy times. That's going to lead us into Hex, of course. Let's go down into Hex here. Have we got the latest day? No, we haven't got Hex on Pulsechain yet. We do have yesterday's data out, though. So yesterday we didn't get to talk about that. So, but that was day 449. And we had 7.176 Hex at that time. That was kind of the play. Let's wait and see what we get for Hex today. We'll probably wait a little bit longer for that. Now, who else has jumped into the chat here? How many are we doing? Almost 40 minutes on the hour. Not bad live stream. Pretty tight. We got through all the markets there. Now, let's see who else has jumped in. Tin Tops in the house there. What's up, Mexicans? Hey, my voice is almost back to good to do that. What's up? I've changed it a little bit, though. Keep changing. I'm like a chameleon or whatever. Let's see. What else we got up here? We got just jumping through some of that. Let's jump through here. Just going through those comments. We've got DGN Hex in the house there. Wish I had more dry powder, says DGN. Pick up some of the mad opportunities with the volumes. What else? I think that's it. All the rest of the chat comments are in chat. So let's see. Have we got the latest results? No, it's still not out yet. Now, what I wanted to say was, yeah, it's good to see Pulsechain holding up, relatively speaking, to the rest of the market, which is still, a pretty serious tank there. So I think we can be pretty happy about that. Even if the Pulsechain is not, going through the big rally green candles, at least it's holding up for the time being versus, the capitulation of Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, because it's kind of cool on there. Now, Pulsex at the moment, Pulsex volume is 12.7 million. 9mm volume at the moment is 500,000, and 9-inch is sitting at 371,000. SparkSwap sitting at 122K. So that's a kind of our four major dexes. And of course, if you're not using a good dex aggregator like Proteus or even Portal X to some degree, then you should consider using those for dex aggregation. I think was it 9mm? I think they have dex aggregation on there too, if I remember rightly. So definitely some opportunities there. And of course, GoPulse as well. GoPulse has pretty fast. Now, if you've got a fast-moving market, you typically want something that's going to respond pretty well. I found that GoPulse is the best one versus Pulsex. Otherwise, you have to go to some of the isolated dexes like 9mm and 9-inch, or at least the 9-inch in particular. But you only get the access to their funds, right? It's faster executing, but you only get access to the LP that's sitting there. But yeah, it's definitely GoPulse has been pretty good in fast-moving markets. When markets are not so fast-moving, then Proteus is definitely seems to me to be the best optimal pricing one, gets you the most volume for your buck. So some little tidbits there as well. Kind of cool. Let me know if in the chat there if anyone's been using the official Pulsechain bridge to get on there. Definitely do that. I also had someone DM me about Hex.com or GoPulse. Hex.GoPulse, so the link to that's still working. It's got IPFS, so you're still using that, which is kind of that full decentralized approach that Richard Hart keeps pushing, which is kind of cool. That turns out to be quite neat. Now, it takes a little while to get used to it, of course, but it's actually pretty simple. Yeah, I'm just going to check Richard Hart and see whether he's got anything on at the moment, but I can't see that pulling up. Let me just get rid of that DGN comment. I don't know why it was sitting on there for so long. My bad. What else there? It says, Tintop says, I'm so glad I invested in yield-bearing protocols that pay me dry powder to catch a little bit of these dips. Yeah, nice one there, Tintop. That's some good advice there from Tintop there. Yeah, don't see. I'm not Richard Hart there because you know that my token Hex got suspended from X platform for nothing, for no good reason. And I've appealed it 6 times, and I haven't heard back from them at all. So there we go. That's social media for you. Even on X, which has got Elon Musk. There's still probably a ton of left-wing nutters running the place, and you would have to have fired 98% of them rather than just 85% or whatever it was. It's just the way it goes. Yeah, YouTube's way worse, by the way. YouTube is, they're against you. The whole platform is pretty set up. Unfortunately, they've still got the network effect, and they've still got the other systems that set up. Hexforce1 says, I just bridged Ethereum over today and bought more Pulse. Nice one, Hexforce1. Hats off to you. Congratulations. And getting up at these volumes, I'm sure later on it's going to be just fantastic. Just remember when I bought it that cheap. All right, let's end the poll. Let's go here on the poll here. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord, definitely get on Discord. It links in the video description. There's a private Discord, $5 a month, 16 cents a day. Join up, you get all the information in the best community. So definitely think about that. And of course, we also have Strategy Club, which is a private club, which is $35 a month. Join up to that today as well. And multi-chain opportunities is what we look at. How long will this shakeout last? Next 6 weeks, 47% is what people think, and that's kind of where I'm sitting. I'm sitting in that camp. 1 to 2 weeks, 26%, and next 3 months, yeah, because we could have a recovery, by Tuesday, Wednesday, right? So that's kind of the play. So that could be quite right there. Next 3 months, 17%. So some people think it's going to last even longer. Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant saying it's going to last until October because I'm expecting October is Uptober as they call it. So I'm not quite in that camp. I'm more in the 6-week camp. And of course, we got the interest rate pivots in September. So that feeds into that argument, 50 basis point cut. So still quite into that. And then, of course, October is normally good for crypto. And, of course, we've got that Bitcoin halving, behavior, which is where we really rally after the Bitcoin halving, at least 3 months afterwards or so. So it's kind of cool. Next 6 months, 8%. Yeah, I think that would be pretty dire. Like, obviously, if we get some wars, like full-on scale Middle East war, where oil gets cut, all that sort of stuff, the Strait of Hormuz and all that sort of stuff. If that really scaled up, which I just don't see it happening, because there is money constraints and things like that. We know the Biden administration's given billions of dollars to Iran and all that sort of stuff. They're the ones that started all this war, right? Trump had pretty much shut it down under his, that they couldn't actually do it. So we'll see how it goes. We do know that there's 2 alliances over there, right? Shiites and Sunnis, and so got all that stuff going on. So we'll see. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. With 23 votes on that poll, so I really appreciate that. Wookie's got the actual link there to the strategy club. If you want to join up with Wookie's link, join up today, $35 a month. But we're posting in all that intel about different projects on different chains, so check that out. All right. Tintop says the gatekeeping is real, says Tintop. It certainly is. Yeah, like once Trump wins, if Trump wins, it's looking good on the polls still for it. And then it's a change of the SEC, change of the guard. That's our insurance policy at the moment on Pulsechain, honestly, because the dismissal case is in October. I think we've got a good chance of winning that, but once again, you need a fair judge and all that stuff, a balanced judge, etc. So and who just looks at the law and the merits of the case. And then, of course, if let's assume we fail that, then it goes to information discovery, right, which was going to be pushed all the way into 2025. So we're talking about March to June 25, information discovery, and that'd be an interesting phase, And then, of course, so our insurance policies in between that period, January, February, if we get a change of the guard, Trump becomes president, he fires Gary Gensler, he puts a new head of the SEC. And then, of course, they drop a lot of their cases, potentially the Richard Hart one, and they change their approach. Instead of lawfare, they just go to a simplified regulation and stop adding new laws. That's basically what they're doing, right? Making their own stuff up. And and it's keeps getting rejected in the courts, right? The courts are going, well, you can't make laws. It's the Congress that makes the laws, so that's kind of pushback. So that is our insurance policy at the moment. Sitting right there in January, February, which we didn't have so much earlier, but definitely looking positive. What else there? RH for the win, says Sandy Beach. Absolutely RH for the win. I agree with you on that. Wookie says, if you take defense, at least leave me the gate, says Wookie. I'm not sure what that's about there. If you're in the States, you got to get out and vote. Just saying, yeah, that's the one thing. You got to get out and vote. If you want for freedom, it's Trump's the only one there for freedom. The rest, the Democrats are going to sew up permanent political power. They're flooding the country with illegal voters, doing all the rest of it. They're really going to rig it up. Once they've got complete power, you will never be free again. You will be a slave in the system. They'll continue to undermine the Constitution, etc., etc. And it's not just for the United States, also for the rest of the world. Even down New Zealand, what happens in the United States is fundamental for the rest of the world. And the rest of us will also be put into some form of slavery, which we're trying to resist as well. So yeah, let's see what happens there. It's going to be very important. Sandy says a 2025 BDC conference in Vegas is Sandy Beach. Brian says fight. Absolutely vote. 100% on that. Share the word around. Yeah, I mean, look at the Democrat cities in the United States, full with crime. It's a no-brainer. The mainstream media does all the propaganda, and unfortunately, too many people fall for that. But I think people are waking up. We've seen that move to the center right, and we've seen a move to more people wanting to protest for freedom. So things are changing. So that's positive. Hollywood says Trump has this. It's not as close as it looks. I agree with that, 100%. But people still need to go out and vote, right? So people still need to go and get their vote done. So that's the thing. Very important that people actually follow up their words with action, because they'll love it. Once they take powers away, they're going to transfer it to the globalists and all that sort of stuff. The next 4 years will be the key. It is the critical vote there, because they've almost got power now. They're almost very close to it. The other thing, of course, is we've got to win the Senate and the Congress and the presidency all at once. That way you can actually pass laws. You can get back into financial prudence and all that. Well, we just saw that US hit 35 trillion in total debt, right? 35 trillion. That's just a huge problem. But you can't actually change the budget that easy if you in Congress if you don't control the Senate and get all those laws passed through and all that sort of stuff. So otherwise, you're pretty much bottlenecked, which we've seen Schumer do. He's virtually passed in just about nothing, right? And the laws he has passed are just rubbish, right? We just talked about the infrastructure law the other day. And I wonder how much money has actually gone to infrastructure law, because a lot of the money was going to their donors, like the teachers union and all these other different benefactors. So just really wonder how much is actually going into the roads and bridges in the United States, which are so desperate for renewal. It has come around. Those things last 40 years, 50 years. They need to come around and get rebuilt. So very important for the United States there. Anyway, that's enough political talk. Let's see what happens with, we haven't got the Pulse, Hex on Pulse, not out yet. Just waiting for the results. We might talk about that tomorrow. Hollywood says, you got to get out and vote, just saying. Quite undercurrent for Trump. Here is amazing. I live in SoCal and only see Trump flags around. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's very important. People need to stand up. It's fundamental for freedom, not just freedom, but prosperity, safety, and culture as well. Right? Culture is very important as well. In America's culture has always been about the American dream. Anybody can achieve anything based on your merit, which is pretty awesome. 54K incoming says lies beneath. We're really down to that at the moment. I moved away from the charts. Let me have a look and see if I can pull that back up again. Let me pull up the green card. Yeah, that would be the next level. Would be something like that. I didn't actually talk about the next levels for that, but I did do it in the chart yesterday. Let's go back quickly to that. That is we're still falling at the moment. $56,525, down 7.4%. Ethereum, they're down 11.7% there at $2,581. So yeah, we're still falling. It's in a bit of a free fall. So what's the bounce back going to be like? It's going to be interesting. And we still don't have any Hex daily stats out yet. So it is a red. A big day, a 12% down day. We're waiting for the big bull market where we get these double-digit up days. So in a row, one day after another. At the moment, is that final shakeout. Is it the final shakeout? Well, we will find out pretty soon. What else have we got? Let's jump into some of those. Yeah, I don't think I have Trading View up anymore, but the next level was something like you say was 50, 54, I think it was the next level potential target. So let's see if we can bounce from there. All right, what do we have? 52 minutes on now. Let's have a look at the stakes. No change there. You're waiting for the latest day, 450 on Pulsechain, but it can take a little bit of time. How far are we through? 58 minutes. It should have come out by now, but it's not out yet. So we'll have to read it up tomorrow, I think. Lies Beneath says 53.9. Next support says Lies Beneath. There we go. That sounds pretty much what I looked at yesterday. That makes a lot of sense. All right, let's see how Pulsechain is holding up quickly just before we wrap up the show. 55 minutes in the hour sounds pretty good. We're getting a little bit of capitulation now in the markets on Pulse, so it's just starting the next level down for Bitcoin. Is starting to have a little bit of impact on our Pulse standard, which was holding up as we saw at the beginning of the live stream. So just starting to get a little bit of itchy feet there, but still trying to hold on. I think it's going to slide a little bit there, but we're at 48. Remember, the RSI is pretty down. So we'll see where we land there. Pulse there is just below 4,000, 3,900. Pulse X at 2,100 there. Still trying to hold on there, down 2%. Not too bad, right? Considering that these are down 7.7 and 13% for Ethereum in particular. Ethereum there being the one. What's the worst one? I'm just trying to look down here. Looks like Ethereum is the worst out of all the leaders at the moment. Matic's down 11.7, so Matic's slightly higher. Oh no, it's not even as high. It's only 11%. Yeah. So Ethereum looks like out of the leaders is down the worst there, 13% at the moment. So there we go, and we're trying to hold on here at the moment. Pulse X there down 2%, 2.6% on Pulse. So they're relatively holding still. Lice says, bring it on. I'm ready for more Hex, Pulse, and Pulse X and Pulse. And so it's cool, Lice. The Feed and Greed Index says sell all body fluids, DoorDash to and from the day job and only fans at night. Get that dry powder ready, system top. Okay, hashtag family channel, hashtag family channel. I get what you're saying. All right, so that's pretty much it at the moment. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. 55 minutes on the hour. Sounds pretty good to me. Take care out there, everybody. And, of course, DCA for the win, especially at this time. I think it's a pretty good opportunity there. You can try and see if you can time the bottom when this does stop bleeding out on the markets. But 54 would be the next target. So we'll see how we go. Maybe by tomorrow. And then we'll probably get some green bounce back maybe on Tuesday or something like that. We'll see. I think the stock market's still going to be under pressure on the Monday. So we'll see where the crypto market bounces there. Let's see here. Just looking for a good video to play out on the outside. So let me just find that. Magic Cart Ride. Now, we've still got the Magic Cart Ride coming down the pipeline. So we'll see how we get on with that. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. And I'll catch you again for tomorrow. And we'll see where it all lands for that. And we'll also have Monday's stock market results. So that's something else we'll be able to talk about. See whether that continues to reset after last week's Friday, which was kind of dismal. At the moment, Pulsechain still holding up relatively well to the rest of the markets. So let's see if it can continue to hold on there as well. All right, take care. Bye for now.
In theory, if someone were a billionaire and they had like all this money, why wouldn't they just buy more of the thing they liked instead of dumping the thing they liked? Like if Bezos bought shares in Amazon, would you be pissed off? If Apple does a stock buyback and they buy more of their own shares in their company back from the public, which is a way to turn earnings into yield for the shareholders, do you get mad and yell at Apple? And so we had to come up with a word for this fan fiction fantasy, which is the opposite of a rug pull, called a magic carpet ride. And so if you're worried about risk of a rug pull, what weighted value have you given the risk of a magic carpet ride? And it's just hilarious to me.